Good morning, everybody. Today we are going to continue with exponentials and we're going to be solving equations with rational exponents. So in the do now, which seems weird, but they're asking you, what do you need to multiply each of these numbers to get a product of 1? Okay, so in other words, you need to multiply this by something to get an answer of 1. Okay, what can I multiply 2 over 3 by to make it equal to 1 or something that's equivalent to 1? And if you realize, you would multiply it by 3 over 2. Okay, it's reciprocal because when you multiply fractions, you multiply your numerator times numerator, which is 6 over denominator times denominator, 6 over 6, which gives you 1, okay? So anytime you want to multiply something to get it a product of 1, you multiply it by its reciprocal. So what's the reciprocal of negative 1/4? Negative 4 over 1. That sign doesn't change. You still need that negative because a negative times a negative will give you a positive 4 over a positive 4, which is 1. Okay, so I'm going to make a little note for yourself. Okay, you are going to multiply by the reciprocal to get a product of 1. Okay, now watch how that's going to just change just a little bit. Look when you have x squared raised to the 1/2. So in all of these examples, in this whole next section, what rule is happening? Please note that this is power to a power. Okay? So when you are raising a power to a power, that means we multiply exponents. Okay? And notice, you have 2 to the 1/2. Well, technically, 2 over 1 times 1 over 2 gives you 2 over 2, or 1. So that's technically x to the first. Now, do we usually write that exponent of 1? No. So we could just make it x. Same thing here. You are raising, okay, a power to a power. That just means 3/4 times 4/3. 12 over 12, which is 1. So your answer is just x. We don't write x to the first. Same thing, negative 1/2 times negative 2. I could put it over 1. Gives me 2 over 2, or 1. Answer. So in order to get rid of that fractional exponent, what you could do, ready, let's watch this. Look in the next example. How can we isolate the y to get the following, to solve the following equation? If we want y by itself, what did we do in that last whole review section to get the x by itself? Okay, you're going to make a little note, raise, not multiply, raise to the reciprocal power. Okay, so if I want to get rid of that 3 over 4, I'm going to raise it, not multiply it, raise it to the 4/3. The reason you're raising it is because when we raise a power to a power, that's when we multiply. So think about that. When you have 3/4 times 4/3, you get 12/12, or 1. So we just got y by itself. But remember, you can't just do something to one side. You're now going to do the same thing to the other side. Raise both sides to the 4/3. Now, I don't know if you remember that 4 over 3 means power over root. Well, here's the good thing. Yes, power over root, If I wanted to rewrite that, I would say that's the cubed root of 125. I could take that whole thing and raise it to the fourth power. Now, you could do that, or what you also could do, which is even easier, is go 125 and raise it to the 4 divided by 3 power. Should be 625. I don't know why they round. I want to just show you the other way. Let's say if I go into f of x and I use the number under the log, that blank root, and I make it the, go back to ABC, no, 1, 2, 3, cubed root of 125, and then I raise it to the 4th power. I don't know why it's not showing fully. Hold on. Yeah. I'm going to check my settings a second. Nope, don't want that. Yeah, I don't know why I have crazy decimal places there. That must have been just like a weird GeoGebra thing. But your answer should be 625. You could plug it back into check, but it's not asking you to, so you don't have to. All right, so here's going to be the rules. You're going to solve an equation with a variable and an exponent, and your exponent's going to be fractional. You are going to isolate the power, raise both sides to the reciprocal, and then simplify. So it starts to get a little bit more difficult because look at number 1. Everybody will think that the 2x is being raised to the negative 1/3, but it isn't. Only x is being raised to the negative 1/3, which means we have to get rid of that too, because we need to isolate the power, the base. So we're going to divide both sides by 2, because that's showing multiplication, 2 times x. So when we divide, we get x to the negative 1/3, and that equals 6 divided by 2, which is 3. Okay, so now from here, I have my base x raised to the negative 1/3 isolated. So once that's isolated, we're going to now raise both sides. Go new color. Let's raise this side and this side to the same power. Now, what am I going to raise it to? You're going to raise to the reciprocal power. So the reciprocal of negative 1/3 is negative 3. Okay, so when you do that, this just becomes x, because it's technically negative 1/3 times negative 3 over 1 gives you 3 over 3, which is 1. So that's x. Now you're going to do 3 to the negative 3rd power, which is a fraction. That's 1 over 3 to the 3rd power, which is 1 over 27. So again, you can go into the calculator and go right to 3 to the negative 3, and you'll get your 127. Okay? Okay, let's try another one. Look at number 2. In number 2, again, here's what you want isolated. Y to the negative 3/2 power. So here, you don't need to divide by 2. Here, 2 is being added. So all we're going to do is subtract 2. me go new color. Okay, when you subtract 2 from both sides, you have y to the negative 3 halves, and it equals 8. So now you have that y to the negative 3 halves on one side all by itself. So now raise to the reciprocal. The reciprocal of negative 3 halves is negative 2 over 3. Negative 2 over 3. So when you raise negative 3 over 2 times negative 2 over 3, you get 6 over 6, which is just y to the first power. And then we're going to do 8 to the negative 2/3 power. So if I wanted to work that out, okay, so like, watch. For you guys, you're just going to go right into your calculator and do 8 to the negative 2 divided by 3. And you'll get positive 1/4. Yeah. So watch, 1/4. Now, if you needed to see that mathematically, first thing you would have to do is get rid of the negative exponent. How do you get rid of a negative exponent? You take the reciprocal of the base. So the reciprocal of 8 is 1/8. And that would now be raised to the 2 over 3 power. And that, remember, is power over the root, which means it's the cubed root of 1/8 raised to the second power. And the cubed root of 1/8 is 1/2. In other words, what times itself 3 times? 1/2 times 1/2 times 1/2 gives you 1/8. But if I square that, I get 1/4. So that's mathematically, but again, you're going to go right into the calculator to get your answer. Okay, I'm going to try one more with you. Take a look at 3. We combined both things that we did in 1 and 2 for number 3. If you want to get just that x to the 2/3 by itself, because that whole 4x is not being raised to the 2/3, only x's. So you're going to undo your operations. The first thing you would have to undo before anything else is you always undo addition and subtraction. So first, add 5 to both sides. So we have 4x to the 2/3 equals 25. Then, once you're here, you're going to divide both sides by 4. Okay, so now when you're looking at this and you're saying to yourself, okay, I divide by 4, 25 doesn't go in really nicely to 4. So that's okay. You're going to leave it. Okay, x to the 2/3 equals, leave it this fraction, 25/4. Okay, if you don't get a nice number, just leave it as that improper fraction. And now, again, we're going to raise it. Go here. Raise, now we got x by itself, so raise both sides to the 3 halves. 3 halves, the reciprocal power. Okay, so when I do that, I get x, because I'm going to get 6 over 6, which is 1. And now I'm going to have 25/4 raised to the 3 halves. Okay, so not a bad idea for you guys to go into your calculator. I'll clear everything out, and I'm going to take 25 divided by 4, and I'm going to raise it to the 3 divided by 2. And there you go. You get 125 over 8. X equals 125 over 8. Okay? And again, I could show you mathematically how you get that. It's power over the root. Technically, power over the root tells me it's the square root of 25/4 to the 3rd power. Well, the square root is 5 halves. 5 halves cubed would be 5 times 5 times 5, 125, over 2 times 2 times 2, 8. So you know you're right, okay? And again, the calculator's not going to lie to you. All right, so I gave you 3 questions to try. Please try those on your own and submit them to me. Okay? Have a good day, everybody. Let me know if you have any questions.